phobia moves. Come on! Yes! Yes! Yes!
If you think I'm wearing socks recording this video, then you are dead wrong. Lili got big booty buffs in patch 420, and now I think she's one of the best female characters in this game. Now detractors will say, Frame, she was an underpowered, underused character. She got a couple of nice minor buffs and one big juicy counter hit move. Is that really enough to catapult a weak character up the tier list? Well, here's where we're going to disagree. First of all, I don't think that Lili was underpowered before the patch, and I'm not making that up now. If you go and watch some of my earlier videos, I was saying in early season 4 that I think this character is heavily slept on, and the reason I was saying that was I was playing against some really high level, really skilled Lili users here in Japan, and I was seeing the things that they could do to me using sideways movement, using stepping and walking, and I was realizing how powerful that can potentially be, especially in some matchups. So that's the one thing. The other thing is that they didn't give her a nice new counter hit move, they gave her easily one of the best moves in the entire game. Now we knew as soon as we saw this that it was going to be absolutely amazing, because it's easily compared to moves that are already in the game that we know are some of the best moves in the game. Maybe we'll get to it, but I want to talk first about why I think Lili was already pretty good and the things that she sort of specializes in. First of all, Lili is a punishment specialist, no doubt. Punishment is not that huge, I mean, for block punishment anymore, but it is still important. 2-4 is easily one of the best 10 frames in the game. Knockdown wall splat 28 damage for a 10 frame is amazing. Its one downside is that the range is kind of bad, but you make up for that when you have to with your standard 1-2, which is pretty solid. But you know, wall splat sets up your Oki, it's amazing. Premium stuff for 12 frames as well. 32 damage, you know, knockdown, knock away. That's the classic premium 12 frame that you see on Bob, that you see on Lars. And Lili, this is amazing. You have other good stuff like the 1+2. And then for launchers, you have your down 4-2, which is really good, even though, you know, impact's kind of slow at 16. But you make up for that with your Hopukiku, which is 15 and really solid. So good stuff for punishment. And then the other thing that Lili is really good at, better than any other character in the game, is sideways movement. And this is really, really huge. If you want to play this character, you should focus on this strategy, I think, almost entirely, because it is so easily the most powerful aspect of the character. We've talked about in some of my earlier videos how sideways movement is becoming less and less emphasized in Tekken these days, and in this version, Tekken 7, it's not as important as it was in the past. But Lili is like the one character, or one of the few characters, who can still really make super effective use of it. She's just so good at it. Now, another really interesting thing that has happened as a consequence of that is, you know how when animals end up in an environment where they don't need their eyes or their legs or pigment in their skin or something like that, and they start devolving those things. I think in a similar way, because sideways movement isn't as big in Tekken anymore, we've started to devolve homing moves in a way. They aren't as commonly used and not as important, and that opens up a bunch of opportunities for a character like Lili. It gives her good matchups. Think, for example, about Katarina. Katarina is a character who I think is already kind of susceptible to stepping, but she has no homing moves. 444 is crap, you know, it's slow, doesn't work at a close range, and her only other homing move is like Snake Edge, right, which doesn't work either, of course. So what you have to do in those situations in Tekken is you have to create the tracking by sort of dashing with the opponent, or you have to predict which side they're going to step to and try and use a move that tracks to that specific side. Which is a lot less reliable than if you have a fast, solid, good homing move. Think about Zafina. She has like 5 or 6 different homing moves, but none of them are really used at a close range when an opponent is doing, you know, a fast poke into step like that. They're not really used for that at all. The one thing you can do with her homing moves is like catch Yoshi when he's spinning out and stuff like that, right? If you're playing Lili, you have to be aware of the fact that there are still characters who can chase you with good fast homing moves. Jin, Lars, Kazumi. Lars and Kazumi nobody plays, so maybe don't worry that much about them, but you have to be aware of a couple of matchups where there are good moves. And one other thing that I really want to mention here that I think is important is that Lili happens to have a great homing move. 20 frames is not super fast, but it works. I think it does its job admirably. Now, people have criticized this move in the past, saying that it has bad range. I don't know what flavor of butt hash they are smoking, but I want some, because this move does not have bad range at all. It's got a huge instep. The range is super solid. The leg just looks short. The range is definitely there. It just works, and it's a counter hit launcher, so it's super, super powerful. And so if people are trying to weaponize your own strategy against you, if they're trying to keep up with you when you're stepping and walking and they want to dance, this is what you do to them. And even when I'm playing Zafina, who's another character who's really good at movement, if Lili starts stepping and walking and I try to do the same thing, in the long run, I'm going to lose that battle because Lili is just better at it. Zafina is better at backdashing, but Lili is the queen of spinning around you, right? So really cool. Now, if you want to play Lili and you're not super comfortable as a player yet with like confidently stepping and walking and then doing a whiff punish, there's actually a super like easy, solid, great way that you can start, because she has this amazing move. This is sidestep 3. Big, solid, really good mid, safe on block, which is crazy. So you just step and do this, and if you messed up and the opponent didn't swing, you didn't get a whiff or whatever, doesn't matter because you're safe. And then when you get the hit, you do that new counter hit move, or the counter hit properties are new, the move is old, and you get 38 damage guaranteed. It wall splat, so you can use it kind of like Bob's sidestep 1+2 lariat for the wall as well. Amazing, amazing move. So this is like, you know, Tekken player's first sidestep whiff punish, and you just do this until you're comfortable with it, and then when you become more and more advanced, you know, you can start looking for stuff with hop kick or whatever. So absolutely amazing. Now, let's talk a bit about this new move. Like I said, we knew that this was going to be amazing. I've said before that I think Kunimitsu's set 2 might be like the best move in the game, but Brian's 3+4 is a contender, I think, for a move that might be even better, and I think that's the move to compare this to. They're not exactly the same, but they are very similar. And to understand why they're so good, what you really want to look at is the risk-reward ratio. In Tekken 7, where movement is de-emphasized, the kind of Tekken that we play these days, it's all about safety and it's about risk-reward ratio. Low risk and really high potential yield. And that usually, very often, comes in the shape of safe counter-hit launchers, like this move. First of all, it's kind of fast. It's 17 frames, which means that it will work at a close range. We have effective close-range counter-hit moves in this game at 15 and 16. You add one more frame and you get this. Unless you're Leroy, then you have it at 12 for some reason, but there you go. So it's good for that. It's got amazing range. It's a keep out tool. It's just extremely threatening, right? Completely safe on block, so you take a very small risk, especially if there is space between you and the opponent. And then when you get that counter hit, massive counter hit launch damage. This isn't even a real Lili combo, and you can see it's still full combo damage. So very powerful stuff. This move is absolutely amazing. It's good enough, and Brian's 3+4 is good enough that if you just took it and copy pasted it onto any weak character, it would be super significant for them, whether it's, you know, Chloe or the Bears or Lee, or I guess Lee isn't that bad anymore, or Gigas or whoever. If you just took this move and gave it to them, it would change how good they are. It would change the way they play. It just would. It's that important. It's that good. It's exactly the kind of move that you want in Tekken 7. It also becomes an effective, good mix-up tool because it has good range and sort of overlap with down 3, which I think is a very solid low poke for this character that you can use for mix-ups, and you know, you can do Root of Evil and other stuff as well. So you have this amazing move, you have your very powerful sideways movement, and I think the reason people slept on this character for so long is like sideways movement isn't an obvious thing you look at when you look for power in a character. You tend to look at the move list, right? If you look at movement, you tend to look at the backdash. But unique and kind of interesting. So if you've ever thought about picking up Lili and playing her, this is definitely the time to do it. Now, I'm probably not going to do that, simply because I think what they've done visually with Lili, sort of the thematics of the character and the look, it's just really bland to me. It's just, you know, Karen from Street Fighter. It's just European girl. It's one of the most bland things they've ever done, honestly, in my opinion. So that's sad. But the new power of Lili is definitely already reflected in the meta, at least here in Japan where I play. I saw one Lili per month before this patch, and now I'm playing against multiple Lilis every day in high ranks too. So people are definitely noticing the power of this character. You might be annoyed with that because, you know, it's a character that people don't love playing against. She has big lows. She's got the cartwheel, which is still good, difficult to deal with, tricky, maybe a bit cancerous, but I'm kind of cool with it because I feel like in Tekken 7 we just know that we're gonna have strong characters now, flavor of the month characters, so why not have a character that has been underemphasized and underused for such a long time in Tekken get, you know, her time to shine? Why not get a little bit of variety? It might not be the most fun character to play against, but it's at least something that we didn't see often that we're seeing more and more, and I think enough people are opening up their eyes to Lili right now that she might even start making a splash on the tournament scene. If there's ever going to be a tournament scene again, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But if you have used Lili in 420, then let me know what your experience has been so far. Do you think I'm right or wrong about her? But I'm completely convinced that this is one of the best female characters right now. Maybe not as good as Julia, but definitely up there, and I think this should officially be like the queen of movement in this game. I think she's better than anybody at it, uniquely good at it, maybe along with Zafina with the backdash. But thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys again very soon.